Hey, great day to you all. Well, great evening to you all anyway. I hope this morning when you guys woke up that you were able to be super grateful to be alive. Again, another day in this experience. And I hope that you were able to maintain a very high vibe. Oh, wow, I didn't even see that come up on the pinned comment. I guess I should, I didn't even see that. Well, anyway, that doesn't matter. I guess, look, guys, all of those scriptured quotes and stuff, that's from Alive from Another Time. It's because I turned on my digital creator stuff and I guess it automatically popped up. I didn't even think about checking it out. But anyway, you know what? I have a question for you guys all today. Aside from hoping that you guys were all super during the day. And I hope you were able to maintain a high vibe. And what is that? Well, feeling glad, feeling content, feeling joyous, hopefully. I know personally I went out today and I tell you, it's like a zoo out there. Literally. People are just, I guess, feeling the thick of it with Christmas being on Monday. Well, see, this is what I mean about the need for emotional intelligence, because I went out there today and literally it's like people are on guard, they're snappy, they're edgy, you look at them and you can tell in their face that they're not okay. You know, and it's difficult to see because I know that with strategy and with determination and with inspired actions, nobody has to feel like that at all. Like, people are, they're driving around, driving around not thinking about the road. They're thinking about whatever else is preoccupying their minds, and you can tell because of the way they're driving. And their lack of awareness about anybody else around them. It's like I'm seeing people like stuck in their own little bubble. And it's difficult to see. But I'm okay. And I hope you guys are all okay. And I hope you're not one of the many that are feeling like that today. Because there are many, 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 many people feeling like that. So, you know, I'm curious to know, are you guys living by strategy in your life to be okay and to be able to face no matter what you're living with ease? Or are you walking around in your own little world feeling absolutely terrible? So this is why I ask, are you playing your game of life with strategies to make sure that you're getting the most out of your experience? Or are you winging it off the fly? And, you know, I'm curious to know. I really am. So all of you guys that are out here, you know what? I'm going to launch a poll. And I'm going to ask everybody who takes a listen to this video, you know what? Put your advice on the poll. I'm really curious to see how many people right now are living their life by strategy to get the most out of it, or whether they're living off the fly and they're winging it. And just, you know what? There we go. I'm going to launch it. So I've launched a poll for a minute. So from now till a minute, I want you guys to, you know, I'm sure that the poll will launch if you're watching it on a replay. But I'm really curious to see how many are living by a strategy plan for their life. And what do I mean by that? Look, we all know the game of life. The board game, the game of life. We all do. It's been out there since I was a child. Well, this is the way I like to see life. It's a mere experience, and it's all a game. But are you winning at your game of life? See, and this is what you got to ask yourself. Because no matter what you've lived up until yesterday, and no matter how you've been playing the game of life, whether you've been winning or whether you've been losing, I'm curious to know. You know? And if the poll doesn't come up, I'm curious to know in the comments. Let me know whether you're living by strategy or whether you're winging it. Because that's going to tell you a lot for yourself to the magnitude of what you can actually get out of life also. Yeah. And what you can acquire as things in your life, like well-being, loving meaningful relationships, loving meaningful friends. All inspired actions would go to a strategized plan of your life where, you know, no matter what you're living today, you know that it is in the midst of change. You see, that's key. Because if you're winging it and you're not strategizing about the things that you want to acquire for yourself, whether it's your health, whether it's something external that you want, whether it's correction in your life of no matter any magnitude, what's your strategy for that? Are you just letting things be and just hoping for change, but not really doing anything about it? You know, there's a lot of things to look at when you're looking at that. But today, specifically, take a look at how you are playing your individual game of life, as if it were a board game. So change your mentality about everything that you've lived and say, okay, it was all a game. So now, during that game and that experience, have I been okay? Have I been able to strategize and always grow with learning and become better and better and better and better throughout the game? Or have I felt beaten by the game, broken by the game, overtaken by the game, and at a high loss? You see? I want you to take a look today if you're the person that's going to sit there and say, okay, well, this is just the way it is. Or if you're actively taking inspired actions for yourself to change whatever situation or circumstance that is not making you feel right. You got to look at that too. So today, even up until now, I've given you guys quite a few things that once you do take the time just to look at it and see it in a different magnitude, you're going to see things differently. And I can guarantee that more people than not from that point are going to want to strategize to make some big changes for themselves so that they can play their game of life to the best that they can and get out of it as much as they can. You see? So I'm just curious about that. You playing your game of life by strategy, which guarantees your win? Or are you winging it and playing it on the fly and just accepting whatever's coming your way because that's a guaranteed loss? So I'm just curious, you know. Because I know personally my life is by strategy. Strategy. I have to strategize. And I have to put in the efforts and the actions to be okay. So what are those things? Well, a couple of things that I do every day as strategy for my well-being. The minute I open my eyes, I'm always grateful. And I express the gratitude. I speak it. Because when you speak, your voice is heard throughout all of the realms. And the magnitude of your voice is directly correlated to the magnitude and power of your soul. So I speak it. How grateful I am to be given another day to play this game of life. Because that's all it is. When you realize that when you come from spirit and take on your life experience, you dummy down coming into this density. Okay? You do. You lose your awareness. You lose your, but knowingly. Okay, big head, I can hear you. So when you say, okay, yeah, I'm going to do it, and you jump in and you take your life on, well, it's a lot different than the magnitude of your abilities in spirit. Because you're operating from a totally different consciousness. So it's not like we're ever disconnected from this consciousness. But the life experience down here in the 3D is very dense. And it's very dark. And the people playing this game of life have been caught in a karmic loop for thousands of years. Why? Because they haven't been playing the game of life right. They don't understand that because of the amnesia that we get taking on our body, because then if we didn't have amnesia coming into our life experience, well, guess what? We would know that everything that we're being programmed with was bullshit, and there would be a total contradiction to it. Right? And you would buck and you would say, no, this isn't right, and don't call me that because that's not my name. And you wouldn't work. So you have to forget who you genuinely are soulfully, because that's the whole game of life, is getting back to that realization of who you really are. That's the only way for you to break your karmic loop. Literally, is to live by the love that's fueling you and project love unconditionally, no matter who's in front of you, what situation you're dealing with, no matter what circumstance. Nothing can affect the love that's fueling you and that you are projecting. In order for you to be evolved out of this karmic looping game of life. So this is really why people need self-awareness. Because as long as they're being controlled by the game and manipulated by the game of life, well, then you're definitely not awakened to your truest nature. Because if you were, you would know you have absolutely everything ever created within the game already in you and at your disposal to manifest anything that you truly desire within your heart, within the experience of the game of life. When you're really awakened to the truest nature of your being, you are back to the state that you were born in. That's what really happens. Where you feel loved and you project love, no matter what the environment is. Okay? You know that there is no separation, just like at birth. Okay? But also, too, these infants that are coming in and that are taking on their life experience, don't get it twisted. They may not be able to talk. Why? Because they know it all already. Okay? You are such a pure light being when you are born that you are flooded with the power of the all-knowing. And you're not born into survival. You're born to thrive. We're not meant to survive playing the game of life. You see, that's the big thing. We're all playing a game of life. But we are not born to this experience to survive the game or lose at the game either. You see? That's the difference. So when you are awakened to your truest nature and you are self-aware, you know that it's love that controls everything and all, no matter what's within the experience. You become very aware that there is no self if we are all one. You see? Well, when you're born, you already are in this state. So this is your truest natural state within this game of life. So you hear a lot of people talking about, oh, the truest state and the truest nature of our being. What is that? That is the state that we are born into our experience, being in that state. So that's your true state of how you're meant to experience your game of life. There's no survival in that. It's the constructs of the system, the constraints of time, the ways of men that has forcefully ripped us away from remaining in that truest nature of your being. But it doesn't matter what you've lived, because I'm proof of that too. That it doesn't matter what you've lived during your game of life. Nothing can stop you from going back and operating out of strategy from your truest nature of your being. It is a simple choice. So it's not about inducing change and becoming somebody you're not. It's actually embracing who you truly are and who you're meant to be on the planet. Very different. Extremely different. So it's not that Tobi's changed. No. Tobi has greeted, embraced, and welcomed my truest nature of my being, which is my birthright. That's the difference. So it's not that I've become somebody that I'm not. I have grown into the person who I am meant to originally be. That is a huge difference. Well, I encourage you guys all to take a look at how you are operating through your game of life. And I would really like to know, heartfully, whether you are strategizing from the truest nature of your being, which allows you wealth and abundance in your birthright to everything that you say, touch, and do in your experience. You're a creator. You can have absolutely anything that you want operating from your truest nature, because you are not in opposition to what's giving you life and your truest state of being. Okay? So when I say to everybody all the time, bring it back to basics. Do that for your own being. Because in that state of thriving, you heal, you're balanced, you play your game of life with a much strategized outlook, knowing that you already have absolutely everything and anything already created within this experience, already within you. So you can do anything that your heart desires. Guys, take a look at how you're operating through your game of life. It's really important to get to know who you really are and not what the world has created you to be. That's really, really important. If you deleted the experience of your life, who are you down to the core? Who are you initially born here to be? That's what living in your purpose is. And we're all born with great talents and gifts to shine in this world with, to bring love back. Well, I hope you're doing just that for yourself and everybody attached to you. Because we all matter. We're all connected. Well, it's not that I have become a different person. No. I am standing as the person that I am originally meant to be, operating out of passion and purpose for myself and for the whole of humanity. Because I took a look at how I was playing my game of life. And I realized what everybody made me to believe was wrong. I knew it down to my core. Well, I had to figure that out for myself, and I did. To the point of self-mastery so much that, hey, I'm still alive today to tell you about it. Guys, I love you all, and this is why I come out here and I do it. Why do I love you all? Because I am operating and functioning from the truest nature of my being, which is total, infinite, unconditional love that fuels me and fuels my game of life. So therefore, anything within that game of life will be loved as well. Whether it's a lesson, whether it's a person, whether it's a pathway, whether it's an obstacle, a setback, a mistake, doesn't matter. I will love it all. I hope and pray you guys can do the same. Hey, and if you can't, I can help you with that, so reach out. Guys, I love y'all. Have a great holiday. Set that high vibe. Fill your heart, nothing but. If something doesn't make you feel right, don't do it. No matter what it is, don't people please. Love yourself unconditionally, the way that you were meant to when you started this experience. Because believe it or not, whatever life that has given you, you've created that for yourself. Because naturally, you don't feel shitty about yourself. Naturally, you know how powerful you are. Naturally, you know you can do absolutely anything at a blink of an eye. I love you all. Set that high vibe. I want you guys to focus on... That's why my lives are a lot different coming out here now, because I really want you guys to focus and take a look at how you're operating within your experience. Because if you're not operating as your truest, genuine, authentic self and what you are meant to do, well, then you're not getting it right. And I hope and pray that everybody does, because that is going to free you from a karmic loop. And unless you go back to operating from the truest nature of yourself, I will tell you this, without trying to induce fear, but you will be caught in a repetitive karmic cycle until you learn how to get it right. Well, I'm showing you guys how to get it right. Believe it or not. So you guys need to get it right for you. And play your game of life by strategy alone. What's strategy? Well, hey, you remove survival. You bring back harmony and balance and well-being. What does that do? It amplifies everything in your life. And it also amplifies your power. Because instead of leaking it to stress and bullshit and working in opposition to your truest, highest nature, you get all that power back to create with. And that's why it's so important for people to harness their truest, highest nature of their being. And stop believing that the game of life is all there is to it, because there isn't. But you got to learn to operate throughout it properly to get the most out of it. not for anybody else but yourself. Why? Because you alone can free yourself of the karmic cycle and the karmic loop. Literally. Nobody can do that for you. But how do you do that? You got to play the game of life from your truest, highest power and nature of your being. And unless you do, you will be coming back to do that over and over and over again until you get it right. Because that's the karmic loop. Well, I can proudly say this is my last go at it. I have relieved myself of that karmic loop. Why? Because I am now operating authentically, powerfully me as my truest, highest nature. What does that mean? I am back to operating in a mode that I was born into, just like every one of us were born in this state. I am not special on the planet. Everybody has it. We're all born with this state of being. Don't accept anything less for yourself. Don't. Because you matter. And think of it, or a great, 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 great uncle one day. See, with the shift of humanity, guys, what you don't get? Lock in a legacy for your future ones coming. By your purpose and your passion. What are you heartfully passionate about on the planet? And pursue that with purpose. Why? Because you are going to free all the generations after you from having to figure out how to do just that. You got to lead by example. And you have to and must be operating in your truest, highest nature of your being to stamp any legacy for your future generations. Because one day, you are going to be that ancestor that they are seeking to find information about. Okay? Well, what are they going to find? Guys, operate from your truest, highest power of your being and rewrite the script. Yeah. Things have to be operating back to love and not from karmic loops. And that's what the big transition of humanity is all about right now. And operating at the 5D consciousness level of thinking. It's not every man for himself. That's the old way. That's the 3D way. And we are no longer in that dimension, even as a planet. So you better get up to the times. Because generationally, you don't want to get left behind in some 3D level of thinking. Mastering yourself is key. Always. Play your game of life by strategy. If you're not operating the way you should be, you are very capable of getting it right. If I can, anybody can. There's no excuses. Guys, in the new year, I'll be launching to help people do exactly this. Empowering themselves with emotional intelligence to the point that they become so self-aware that they master themselves. Because this is what it's all about. And 2024 is a wealth and abundance year. Finish off this year properly so you can finish with a bang to bring in a bigger bang for your new year by strategy. Because you got this no matter what. Guys, I love y'all. And I send y'all lots of love, energetically, lots of strength, lots of wellness. And I really hope that you guys fill your heart during the holidays. Don't let anything stress you, no matter what. Because if you're living off of stress, you are not filling your heart. It's impossible. Guys, I love you all. Get the most out of it. Have a great night. Enjoy. Peace.